For everybody out there that's doing it wrong, well, you've now been notified. Everybody out there that's doing things the right way, this is music to our ears. If you're doing it right by the clients, doing right by the rules, not breaking any rules, there's no reason to have our good names smeared through the mud because of some groups out there that are doing things the wrong way. And a lot of times they're not even located in the United States, and they're not even selling Medicare. A lot of times they are pure fraud. Hey guys, Curt Graham here from Elite Insurance Partners, back again with another industry update. This time it's for a law that was proposed in the Senate on July 31st. We're getting more and more information about it, and I think it's a good thing. But before I go into the details of the law, I want to take a step back of why this law is even being proposed. And it's from the infamous final rule. Remember 2025 Medicare Advantage and Part D final rule? Well, that threw a whole bunch of things in the air. They bring up TPMOs, or third-party marketing organizations. There's a whole bunch of stuff to do with lead gen. There was a whole bunch of stuff to do with commissions. A lot of different things that were at play there. It was all anybody was talking about at the different Medicare conferences 2 years ago. But recently, with the Texas court putting a stay on this final rule, it basically, said, hey, nothing's going into effect. It's done for now. It's cooked. Okay. Also, the Trump administration, when they came in, they essentially said, we're pushing that off. We don't really want anything to do with that. So it was already, kind of dead, but it raised some new questions about TPMOs. It raised questions about, all the different, marketing practices and deceptive things that are going on. The DOJ just recently had a giant, case that they brought, $14 billion of fraud, waste, and abuse. They're implementing prior authorization to cut down on fraud, waste, and abuse in original Medicare. So it's a real big priority. So I'm not surprised to see an actual law coming with some more direction from to HHS on how they want some of these things regulated. Now, this is from the National Associations of Benefits and Insurance Professionals, and they give a nice little highlight bullet point information here. They are in favor of this. They're highlighting the fact that it is a bipartisan bill, which means that there's some support on both sides of the aisle. And what are their bullet points? Clarify the definition of TPMOs, establish stronger oversight on predatory call centers, create a standardized process for agents and brokers so that there's not so much redundant things that need to be done. Nullify the 48-hour waiting period on scope of appointment. Big deal. Always has been ridiculous. Ever since I've been in the business, it was ridiculous back in the day when I used to have to get them signed and wait 2 days before I could make an enrollment back 15 years ago. Nobody's ever understood it, including clients. And also, direct the Inspector General of HHS to go after predatory call centers that are doing harm to beneficiaries. Not a long bill, so we can actually jump right into the text, and it's written pretty clear. Again, what is this? What's the purpose of this? Require the Secretary of Human Services to carry out certain activities relating to the regulation of independent agents, brokers, third-party marketing organizations under Part C and D, and for other purposes. Now, the real name of the bill is Independent Broker Relief. Basically, they came up with all of this stuff just so that they can come up with a nice acronym, the Independent Brokers Time Act of 2025. Okay, that's what everybody's going to be calling it, so don't worry about all this. But what are we doing here? Updating the definition of third-party marketing organizations. Okay, so what they want to do, direct the Secretary of HHS to update that. How are they going to do it? Okay, there's a couple different things. What is a third-party marketing organization? Well, third-party marketing organizations should include call centers that are not physically located in the continental United States, overseas call centers, publicly traded marketing companies. Some of the big groups out there that are on the stock market, and private equity financed marketing companies, as well as companies that make the majority of their revenue by generating leads. The other thing that they want to do is make sure that when they're generating those leads, they have to follow the same rules and held to the same levels of compliance as licensed insurance agents. Okay. Now, what is an independent agent and broker? Well, these are independent agents and brokers that enroll and do client services, and also it does include insurance agencies. So it's not just independent agents. It includes insurance agencies that don't fall into this upper category here. And so that is a good thing. It's pretty crazy to expect the same level of technology and all sorts of extra things that they're trying to require now of these bigger giant call centers and big groups out there that have a whole bunch of private equity money and public money behind them. It's crazy to, have the same rules for just the independent, smaller shops out there, independent one-off brokers. So I think this is going to be very welcome news for the industry as a whole. The big guys have the time, they have the money, they have the staff to be able to do it. It's not really going to change anything. They're already doing all of this if they're doing things right. But it's for the smaller guys that are trying to make a living that this makes it a little bit more difficult to do with all the extra things between call recordings and things along those lines. So we might see some changes there. Now, they want to do some oversight of predatory call centers. How are they going to do this? Whistleblowers, okay? So provide monetary reward for individuals who submit information on call centers engaging in or that have engaged in marketing scams related to Medicare. This is great. Anybody out there that's scamming, I don't want them talking to my clients anyways. I don't want people to think I'm a scammer. I don't think any of you that are out there that are doing things the right way want to be related to any of that BS that goes on. We're seeing it, every day when it comes down to it. The DOJ $14 billion case that they brought earlier this year. Just last week, the FTC $145 million settlement against a couple groups out there that were doing some pretty scammy and things. And so good news overall. Also, they're going to standardize the registration process for independent agents. So make it to where Medicare Part D and C organizations have to standardize the registration process, streamline it, make it more simple. Why is there all these different craziness between everybody, considering they're all regulated by CMS anyways? It should just be very simple to be a licensed agent that has, the correct certifications to be able to sell these products. Also, distinguish between independent agents and brokers and third-party marketing organization. And this is all done to reduce the regulatory burdens facing independent agents and brokers. Okay. So I think that's great. Hey, anytime they want to take some rules and regulations and make them a little bit more streamlined, I'm for it. I think most of us will be as well. Next thing, let's look at nullification of the 48-hour waiting period requirement for independent agents and brokers. So there might be, when I read that, I'm hearing independent agents and brokers. And remember, they broke them apart up here. TPMOs, independent agents and brokers. So this is for getting rid of that for those guys out there. Get rid of it. This is going to nullify the 48-hour wait period. The secretary shall not take any action to enforce an extended waiting period, including the 48-hour waiting period, or require a specific time period to pass between scope of appointment agreement and the independent broker's meeting with a Medicare beneficiary. Music to my ears. I'm sure music to a lot of your ears out there. Last but not least, they want the Inspector General to take a look at these predatory call centers that are using fraudulent or misleading marketing practices. Go after them. And this needs to be not later than 1 year from the date of this enactment. So I'm guessing this might be fast tracked. They want to get it passed. They want to get it going, and they want results. They want the OIG to go after groups out there. They want prosecutions. They want to clean up the industry. For everybody out there that's doing it wrong, well, you've now been notified. But everybody out there that's doing things the right way, this is music to our ears. If you're doing it right by the clients, doing right by the rules, not breaking any rules, there's no reason to have our good names smeared through the mud because of some groups out there that are doing things the wrong way. And a lot of times they're not even located in the United States, and they're not even selling Medicare. a lot of times they are pure fraud, have nothing to do with insurance. They're just doing fraud and using Medicare and using insurance as a part of their scam. And so, I think a lot of people, say call centers are terrible and all this stuff, get a bad rep. I know a lot of great call centers out there that are absolutely doing things the right way. I don't think much is going to change for them. But I think this is great news overall, clarifying TPMO versus agents and brokers, and then also getting rid of that 48-hour rule. I think this is all good news. Hope you found this helpful. If you've got any questions on this, or anything else, regulatory, any, carrier questions or things along those lines, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Love to have a conversation. Shoot me an email. Come over to our Facebook page, Insurance Disruptors. Join that group. Private message me. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm all over the place. Not hard to find. Come to our website, eliteinsurancepartners.com. And we'll love to have a conversation with y'all.